Hey, welcome back, everyone. As you can see, the Evile podcast is back alive. I'm Michael Myrte.
And I am Philip. I am the bass player. Back. I didn't think we were going to make it this far to 3, but 3 can be, three's a crowd, or 3 strikes and you're out.
Apparently, we had more than 5 views, so at least we know the band members weren't the only ones listening in. So.
Yeah. Wow, they got guts. Well, I love them all. But I guess to bring everyone up to date, since our last podcast, I don't know where to start.
Well, let's talk about, our last podcast. We had a singer that we had fill in during summertime, which we appreciated. Her name is Mercedes.
Mercedes, yeah, she filled in.
And we did one gig at the 601 Club.
Oh, don't remind me.
If you folks out there don't know, Phil made a little rant about how great their facilities are.
Oh, God. Boy, are you being generous with that statement. Yeah, because our last podcast, we had no singer at all. We were just looking, and one after another, we just canceled them out. They were either told bums, they sucked. And the singer that we did have, her name is Mercedes. She was excellent.
Yeah. And she brought some things to the table, and she came with an operatic background, so we were kind of changing our sound to fit with her. Yeah,
and I really appreciate the help she did. She pretty much helped us get out of the phase that we were in before with the previous singer,
right?
Which was a big rut. We'll get to that later. And so we played a club. It's called Club 601, and Club 601 is in Orange County over here in Southern California. A little dead club, biker bar, whatever you call it.
Yeah, it was definitely like they took a karaoke dive bar and decided, hey, let's bring live acts. Unfortunately, they forgot to bring the stage.
Yeah, and here we are playing, and there was a biker club called the Mongols, and they're famous, notorious guys. And here we are playing in front of them. I thought any second these guys are going to kick our ass because we suck so bad.
Oh, and I had a guy that was just staring me down the entire time I was playing drums, which probably affected my rhythm a little bit. But at the end of the show, they gave us a thumbs up. So at least we knew that they liked our stuff. And
they were drunk enough to do that, thank God.
At first,
so we played the 601.
I love this. I really want to continue on. But I got to start school in a couple of weeks, and we're like, cool.
I forgot about that.
And so we started booking a couple of gigs, and she was all for it. So we're like, okay, cool. We'll work around her schedule. We'll work around everyone's schedules, and we booked this show. And Phil happens to play for another band called Ruby Carrera.
Yeah.
And they were gracious enough to invite us to open up for them in Hollywood. So we were like, oh yeah, we'll jump at that chance. And Mercedes was gung ho for that. And then we fast forward to a week later where we do our first rehearsal for that club, which is it was Kitty Kitty Bang Bang.
Yeah.
And Mercedes shows up and says, "Guys, I just started school."
Oh yeah. She just showed up just out of the blue. I can't do it. And I was like starting to panic. I'm like, oh my God, we got this show booked, and she backs out, and it's like, oh my God, what are we gonna do?
Yeah, and we were really. At first, we were just trying to be supportive and be like, "Hey, that's cool," And we even talked about other ideas. Even at one point, someone stepped up and said, "I'll sing all the songs."
Oh yeah,
and we thought about it for about 15 seconds, and now,
yeah,
and then we decided, "Hey, is there anybody we know that we can get?"
Yeah.
And there we are. We started texting anybody that's ever auditioned for us or had interest. Or Phil has a tendency of talking to other musicians from other bands that either like our stuff or just is out there.
Yeah.
And we got a response.
Yeah, and and the response was like within 20 minutes of asking.
And I totally thought she was just talking shit like yeah guys, I'll join you guys, yeah, whatever.
I know. I thought, I thought she was gonna do that sarcastic where they do seriously.
Oh, well,
that sarcastic seriously.
I was just waiting for her to say, yeah, sarcasm turned off on the text, and and then so at first we were somewhat very tepid. We were like, okay, is this true? Is this really what we're doing? Text her back. Let's see if it's true.
Yeah.
Nothing happened. We did that rehearsal. It was kind of our farewell rehearsal with Mercedes.
Yeah.
Just getting through that night.
I remember that.
We were all kind of bummed, but we were just kind of like, well, maybe we'll have a temporary singer. We'll do a couple of gigs, and then we'll shut the band down for the winter time until we find anybody to replace.
Yeah. You know what she did to us? She did the same thing that women always do to men that men can't stand. When every time a woman goes up to a guy and says, "We have to talk," or like, "Uh-oh, here it comes. Something's going to happen. Look out." So here we are. She goes on the microphone. We all got our headphones on. She says, "I have something to tell the band." It's like, that's almost the same thing. It's like, uh-oh, she's going to back out or something's bad's going to happen. It's the same thing, so...
Yeah, but
and sure enough...
Nothing against Mercedes. I mean, I know she tried.
Oh, no.
I know she wanted to. And
she's awesome. I still enjoy talking to her.
We all looked at it as this. Hey, you're going to school. Yeah. This is what you want to do. We knew this was temporary to begin with. It was just a little quicker than we wanted it to be. And I think we parted on good terms. And
she'll always be a friend of the band.
And hey Mercedes, you're always invited to see our show. And
yep. I mean, one of the reasons why I liked her so much is not only could she sing, but she reminded me of a younger version of Cindy.
Oh, okay.
In a way, because of her look.
Yeah.
You remind me of a younger version of Cindy. But,
and I got to give a shout out to her boyfriend Mick, because he always came in with beer.
Oh, I know. I was just as happy to see that guy, maybe even more, because he always bought beers every time. And I'm like, oh, hi Mercedes. Oh, hello, Nick. Come on in.
So whatever, if we were ever upset Mercedes towards the end of the night, we were all cool.
Oh yeah. She's got an excellent voice, and she's probably going to go a lot of places with her singing abilities.
So, back to the story. So we're looking for this replacement. We got a response. We were happy and elated, and I think within 24 hours it was solidified.
Oh yeah.
And Phil was telling me who she was. It was like, oh yeah, she was someone who was interested in singing for us, but she got afraid about the loss.
Yeah.
And that was the one song that I gotta say, Mercedes really hit it out of the park.
Yeah.
So okay, Christina. So yeah, Phil was talking about Christina and how
the loss.
No, we weren't talking about. Well, she was nervous about ever auditioning for us because the loss was daunting, and we actually had that response a lot. We talked about it in our last podcast about.
Yeah, we're gonna get on our case about that.
how people that we were like, hey, yeah, come sing for our band. Here are 3 examples of our band, and the loss being one of the big focuses. Everyone shied off. And it was like, oh, I can't sing that shit. That's
She was like she was one of 4 that said that.
A completely different range, and so we just kind of took it at okay, so. If that scares you, maybe the other stuff scares you, so we don't want to talk about it. So, I don't know. It was 24 hours later.
24 hours later, at least.
We got a solid response.
And she was sober by then.
I will sing for your band, and yes, I am serious. I wasn't joking, which really got us all happy. And she came in with her boyfriend Bernie, and I kind of walk in one day and be like, oh, okay, hey.
Yeah, I know. It's like, who is this keychain that she brought with her?
And Phil sent her some songs, and holy shit.
Okay, we're back, and that was the effigy. That was Christina, who is with us on the other mic. Thank you for coming. And that
hey,
very
everyone,
good.
welcome. Thank you.
Very
Hello,
good.
hello.
Thank you. Excellent singing. Welcome to the band, to our podcast. If you call it podcast, maybe it's a YouTube cast. What is this thing?
It's a unique cast.
It's a unique cast. Okay.
It's a podcast, but you could play it on YouTube. You can watch it on YouTube. You can download it and keep it for yourself.
That's right.
Because what happened was, she just asked me. I just started talking to her online, Facebook. Deb from I Still Have Nightmares.
Yeah, that's Christina's main band. Is I Still Have Nightmares.
Yes, I Still Have Nightmares, and I just stopped a conversation online with her, and then she just says to me, she says, "Hey, I heard you're looking for a singer." And I said, "Yes." And she says, "Well, I know this girl, Christina. She might be able to help you." And then I think from there, she told you, right?
Yeah, actually, she sent me a message on Facebook, and I was like, I looked into you guys, and I was like, "Oh, this is pretty cool. It's different, you know."
Uh-huh.
So from there on, that's when I messaged you.
Yes, I remember that. And then, what did you think when you first heard it?
Well, when you sent me The Lost, I was like, okay.
Okay,
And
what does okay mean?
I was like, I can't sing this. But I met you at the Mexican restaurant, and we went
Famous
through
Joe's.
Famous Joe's. You sat down and talked to me about like the whole gif of the band.
Uh-huh.
And I was just like, okay, that's really cool. And then you were talking about, I was like, wow, he's really passionate about this. I'm like, he has like a vision of how he wants the band.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So at that time, I was going through a lot with my life, and then I was like, man, I don't want to let them down.
Uh-huh.
So that's when I kind of like backed away.
And then, but I Still Have Nightmares gigs a hell of a lot more than we can think of. So how is it that you're letting us down? We're worried about letting you down, being like, oh yeah, we're some cheesy makeup band who has this passionate guy who's trying to.
Yeah, because I thought she thought that we were too cheesy for her.
Yeah.
Oh no, I didn't think of it that way. But when I saw you guys at the 601, me and Deb went to your guys' show at the 601.
Oh, that's right. She saw us at that catastrophe.
And you said they're mortal.
I was like, what?
They fuck up all the
time. No, I knew about 601's reputation. I knew about the the sound and stuff like that.
Because you played there previously with I Still Have Nightmares.
Yeah. So I knew what you guys went through. But when I saw you guys at the 601, then I kind of saw the vision. I'm like, you know what? I was already picturing how it, I could see now what you wanted to accomplish.
Oh, thank God. And you could scrape off the crud and see what the main heart of what we were trying to do.
And the biggest vision was that stage could not hold us. We had
it
way
was
too much
tiny.
great stuff to bring
Poor
to the
John
stage.
was in the back, and everybody,
Couldn't hear anything.
They had the bouncer doing the soundboard.
Was it
Remember
the bouncer?
that?
I thought it was just some kitchen help that was like...
They're like, hey, cook, go do the sound.
Exactly. He probably still had his apron on.
Yeah, my favorite line of the night was, man, you guys have way more stuff than I've ever had in this mixing bar.
Yeah, I know.
You're like, that's the way we roll.
Yeah. And when you saw us, we still didn't communicate because we had Mercedes at the time.
That's correct.
And then it must have been like a month later where you got that faithful text.
Yeah, it was probably a month. I was in Uptown Whittier.
Yeah, tell me exactly how that went down from what you could remember.
I was having a little drinky drink, check my Facebook, see the message, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna do it.
Yeah.
And then that's when I replied, okay, yeah, let's do it. I'll sing for the band. Come on. So
She must have.
And the next day I met you. I got all the lyrics and the songs ready to go.
You did?
Well, yeah, the next
Well,
day.
I
I met you at your dad's house, your dad and mom's house.
That's right.
Yeah.
The first person who contacted you was Daniel. I thought he was just going to press for delete, like I always do when I get a message from him.
I knew you guys were together, and then I was just thinking about when I saw you guys at the 601.
Oh, okay, great.
And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to give it a try.
Cool. And you remembered everything that I told you previously when we first met over at Famous Joe's, with the makeup and all that stuff, and I hope that helped your decision, that you enjoyed all that stuff along with it.
I wasn't used to it.
Really?
Like all the makeup and, you know, the theatrics. But I knew I could do, like, theatrical work, but I never tried it. But I've always, like, imagined it. So it's cool doing Evile Annie because it's totally different. It's fun and...
Well, look, as long as you're having fun.
Big time. Big time.
So, I remember our first practice with you. You're right here.
Yeah, I threw up.
Oh.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Holy
Before
crap.
I walked in the jacuzzi. I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay. I was like...
I know!
See, and you wonder why we didn't believe you when you said, yeah, I'll do the band. I'll sing for you guys.
Not.
So when you came in our first practice, how did you feel? Were you nervous?
I was nervous.
You were?
Yeah.
Because I remember we did, I don't know, about 3 or 4 practices before we did the Kitty Kitty Bang Bang show. And then we did the show.
It was probably 2 hubs and 2 live. It was just 4 practices before we did Kitty Kitty.
Yeah.
Okay. And we did the show, and the show went really good. And you did excellent job. You looked like a pro up there being with us. And then she calls me up. I talked to her like on the phone like a week later, and she tells me how nervous she was. That she was a bag full of nerves.
Oh, really?
Before,
I was.
And I had no idea. You must have covered it very, very well, because I had no idea that you were that nervous.
Because I had to walk up onto stage. You know, I was like out of the stage, and when the song comes on, it was my cue to come up on stage with the knife. So before, when I was on the side waiting for my cue to come up, I was just like terrified. I was nervous. I was talking to the promoter. She's like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm just nervous."
But I mean, as far as our audience went, I think there was only maybe 15 people that were really paying attention to us, and everyone else was kind of talking and doing their business, and so that made you nervous. I just would have thought, oh, okay, they really don't care if I show up or not.
You know what? Too, just like the cues, because the music is a little bit different from what I'm used to. You know, the long intros and stuff like that. It's like, you know, I want to come in. That was my main thing that I was super nervous about.
Well, you need to come in character as opposed to just
Yeah.
showing up and be like, hey guys, how's it going? I'm Christina.
Yeah.
Let's play this.
Yeah, because there's a lot more to remember with cues.
Our theatrics, definitely.
And
Yeah.
theatrics, you got to know what to grab next, what prop.
Not to hold the knife the wrong direction.
Yeah, it's just,
Don't stab yourself.
I admit
Don't stab
it's a
myself.
lot of responsibility for inside of that 4 practices that we had. At least it's a lot more responsibility than any other band.
Yeah, totally.
Around here.
It was.
But we got to give a shout out to Bordners and Kitty Kitty Bang Bang, because they gave us one of the best sound checks the band's ever experienced.
Yeah, that's
Beautiful.
rare.
And it really gave us the confidence to take that stage. And all outside of the crazy fog machine, which always seems to be our Achilles heel.
Oh, I know.
Where I've actually I slipped like
You
about
slipped.
4 times, but I didn't fall.
It was all
Yes.
over near Daniel's amp, and I think it was I think even John had a slip up here and there. And of course, Phil over here that has to run around in the background playing bass.
I slipped a few times, but I didn't fall.
So if one word to you guys, Bordners, put a fucking carpet on the stage if you're using a fog machine, please.
Our only words of advice to Borders. Other than that, they did pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, they treated us well over there.
And hey, and then Phil had to do double duty. He had to play with Ruby Carrera and finish out the night. So
yeah, first time I ever done something like that. But it was cool. And then, because I wanted to talk to you about that, because you raised some questions I wanted to ask you, because how nervous you told me you were during that show. When you told me that, I started thinking, it seems like by you being nervous, you kind of went outside your comfort zone, because being in I Still Have Nightmares, that was like your comfort zone, being in that band, and this time you went outside that box.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
And I hope you looked at it as a good thing.
Oh yeah, it's a great learning experience. really happy that once I was on stage, that with the props and the theatrics, that I actually pulled it off, and I was like happy. I was like shocked. I was like, cool.
Yeah. Now, let's go back to your background with I Still Have Nightmares. How long have you been with that band?
Since I was 20 years old, so I've been with I Still Have Nightmares for 5 years now.
And that was your first start?
First start.
And how did that all come to be?
In high school, I've always wanted to be in a band.
I mean, did you advertise yourself? Or
I found them on the internet, and I auditioned for them, and that's history. Yeah, I've been with them ever since.
So, I mean, were you ever nervous about auditioning, or
Oh yeah, because they sent me they told me what song they wanted me to learn, which was "Night Shift" by Susie and the Banshees.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
So learned it, and then I met them for the first time, and I went into audition with them, and that was my first time ever singing with a live band. So that was my first audition, doing it like that. So
before that, you were singing in the shower and
in my room with the.
I mean, did you ever do karaoke before that, or any kind of live performance?
I never did karaoke at that time.
Right.
No.
Or in high school, you ever done chorus or anything? No. Nothing like that? You just woke up one day and said, I want to sing.
I want to sing. Yeah. Okay. So, basically.
So, Christina, who are some of your influences?
I like Susie and the Banshees. Mm-hmm. I like a lot of Queens of the Stone Age, Audio Slave. At the time, I was getting into rockabilly and psychobilly, so it's like my musical background is just really wide. I don't discriminate against any music except country. I'm not very fond of country.
No.
Okay.
So other than that, listen to everything.
I can't even think of a country song I like.
My achy breaky heart.
Is that a song you like? Or is it just a song that we know in the background? There is a place for everything, and I just no matter how many times people talk about how dark metal or rock is, I go, but you listen to something about your dog died and your wife left you and you're drunk again.
A barbecue stain on your white T-shirt.
Not to mention all the racial overtones.
Oh, I know. They got the Confederate flag on there.
Isn't it great to be white?
After that first show, did you really say to yourself, like, I want to do it more, or I still want to be this temp, or was there any kind of hesitation at
Actually,
first,
there's no hesitation.
There's no hesitation
I was just like, you know what, this was awesome.
Uh-huh.
I want to continue. Actually, Mike, I was sitting with your girlfriend, Suzanne, and she's like, so are you going to stay? Are you going to be in the band? She kind of was asking me that question. Yeah, actually.
I had no idea.
I
never prompted her for anything.
And I was like,
we did not put her up to that.
Yeah. I mean, if anything, she was just like, I need a friend and I just need a conversation.
But it's just funny because we didn't as a band, we didn't talk about, hey, Christina, are you staying? It just seemed like it was like we didn't even talk about it, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, as far as we were concerned, we just like, okay, 3 gigs. 3 gigs being Bordner's. We had another show that we've sent replace, and then we also have our Halloween show that's on October 26th that we were looking forward to. Just Phil booked it, and we thought we were going to have Mercedes do it. It was we got the date like 2 months before October 26th, and we were just like, okay, well, at least we'll have someone to fill in, and that was it. And we just thought the band would kind of go into dormant mode or ether or whatever. We were more afraid of taking you away from your main band.
Yeah.
And we didn't want to upset anybody. We just want to be cool with everybody. We don't want to sit there and say, "Oh yeah, you got to join Evile, and don't play with anybody else." But we're it's the cool thing about I gotta say about Phil and all the guys is we're completely supportive with whatever anybody wants to do,
and that makes it.
We don't have the kind of weird, strange, a codependent relationship that some bands in the past may have had. Don't you dare leave this band because
I've been through all that. I've been through the mill with that.
Yeah.
Especially with the band that I was in right before I decided to go through the Evile Annie. They looked at me like I was just cheating on them. Like I was, their
well, everyone says a band is like a marriage. So if
it is, I kind of being in Nightmares for 5 years, it's just like a relationship. It is. It's like you kind of see like, you know, you have to pick your fights.
Exactly. It's like a second family.
It is a second family.
Yeah,
and you care about, that's the only thing is, being with them for 5 years, it's like I care about them. Deb, she's been in the band for a year, but you already start to care about people and stuff like that. And, you know, you want everybody to be happy, and you don't want nobody to be upset, so you're always making sure that everybody's happy.
Yeah. And the part that gets to me that I don't like is when they start getting possessive. When they start getting possessive of their own band members, and that's where it starts crossing the line. Well, it's happened to me, and I hate it.
And you know, sometimes there's not so much of a separation between the friendship that you have in the band and the musicianship that you have, where you know those lines start getting blurred because you start hanging out, and then people start feeling, oh, well, you don't want to hang out with me anymore. You want to hang out with someone else, and you know, the only time I ever feel like maybe it's valid to get upset is when you like go, we have band rehearsal tomorrow. I can't make it. I'm going to go play with this other band. That I can understand, but. You know, at the age we are now, you know, we don't need to practice like 19 times a week. Yeah.
Once a week is good enough.
On the other side of the token, I mean, you know, we have the male side, our male perspective. Yeah. What is it like being a female, you know, somewhat of an object of attention? And, you know, do you get advances? Do you get people after the show that want to approach you and think, oh, yeah, you know, maybe I can hook up? Or
It's been a hard learning experience, like being in a band, because I just wanted to be in a band, and I didn't, you know, when you want something really bad, but then you don't think about the consequences. Yeah, that's kind of what happened with me. It's like, oh, I want to be in a band, and then it happened, and then I learned all this stuff. It's like, and then just like it was like a rude awakening. It's like, man, can I handle this?
Yeah, so
I just want to be in a band, but then it's like this extra stuff, and I'm like, oh dang, how do I handle it? But then I just eventually adapted to it and just learned it. I just keep to myself. I'm in the band. I keep it professional. I meet people after and just keep it business-like. And if people are friendly with me, I'm nice to them. But if they do cross the line, I have my knife. So.
Watch out, boys.
Stab you.
It's like prison.
Yeah, I know.
But I mean, you know, as far as like, it's kind of interesting because when Phil and I did the first podcast and we both talked about our why did we even become musicians, it was for female attention. You know?
Of course, it always is.
And then eventually we're like, hey, I'm actually pretty good at this.
You're like,
this is
keep
fun.
On doing it.
I'm okay. I don't need to always get the female attention because you know it goes away.
I know, because I got my instrument. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get chicks. And I realized, wait a second, I have to learn how to play this damn thing first.
Fast forward to 10 years, you're like, oh, those are the chicks I get? You got to be like our keyboard player, just have long hair, like flowing like Fabio or whatever.
I know.
Because
especially at my age, instead of throwing pantyhose, they throw the pens at me.
But I mean that's the thing. Is like your goal was you just wanted to perform. Yeah. That was really, you know, you didn't really like go, I need applause, I need attention, I need someone to sit there and go, Christina, you're the best.
Yeah, I didn't think about it that way. I just wanted, like, even in high school, I'd ask kids in like my classes, hey, you want to be in a band? And everybody would be like, yeah, let's do it. And then it just like, you know, nobody would commit to it. You know, we'll all just say yes, but it's like none of us have instruments. So it just was like that, and then finally I just went through with it and decided one day just started looking on the internet, and that's how I found Dave and John, and at the time our bass player Robert. So
did you tell anybody, or was this? I mean, did anyone try to talk you out of it?
I told my parents, and they were gonna stop me.
Really?
And I just said, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna go. So I actually snuck out of the house.
Yeah, I had the most recent message I got was from the promoter of the burlesque show that we're doing on November 22nd in Long Beach.
Da Piazza's
Long Beach. And she said to me, she says, boy, that doll's creepy looking. That thing gave me the creeps. And when she said that to me, she meant it. And I'm like, that doll is doing its job.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So Christina, when Phil first introduced to you Annie, what was your first thought?
I was like, interesting. But I was like, I'm open-minded to, so it's just like, that's what Evile Annie is. So it's like, it's cool.
Yeah, well, the first time when I auditioned for this band, I mean, it looked like Phil was trying to do everything to get me to not join this band. Like,
what?
I'm telling you, the first thing he said is, "We wear makeup. Are you cool with that?" Yeah, I'm cool with that.
He told me that too.
Here comes this doll.
In that voice?
I used
that tone?
Oh, I know.
Go on.
Here's this doll. Are you cool with the doll? The doll's creepy, isn't it? It's scary, isn't it?
I had a little checklist to see if...
to make sure if you can hang.
Or just to see, if I just think it's totally ridiculous or what have you.
Now, one of the things that made me want to get you in here is when you first sent me that picture of Dr. Freeze. Yeah. The Dr. Freeze one?
Being luckily Halloween is my Christmas. So this is my favorite time of year. Everyone dresses up and does something, and so I love doing makeup and I've done theater, and so the mix of both the theatrics and the music is just right up my alley. So I was so happy to audition for Evile Annie that it didn't matter. It pulled me out of retirement. I didn't want to play in any cover band. I was telling Phil this earlier today that I'm so glad that I'm not in a wedding band. Someone was asking, does Evile Annie do like regular shows? Like you guys take off the makeup? Can you guys do covers? Do you guys do like some Led Zeppelin? I'm like, no.
Nah.
But so when Phil was kind of emailing me back and forth about at first he's like, well, I don't believe you're a good drummer. Can you give me some examples? And I was like, oh, I have a CD I did a long time ago here. And he's like, what do you think of, we do makeup. We're kind of this. And I said, oh, well, this is what I'm doing, what I did for Halloween last year. Check it out. And I did this character. My girlfriend wanted to do something with a particular color. She loves blue. So every year she wants to do something with blue. And so I was like, blue, ice. I was like, I'll do a character called Dr. Freeze, and the joke is she'll be frigid. So we did the makeup, and we actually won a Halloween contest. And this year we're going to do something kind of different. But you'll definitely see the makeup I'm doing for her at our show. Once again, mirror image at October 26th.
October 26th. Anaheim.
We going at 11.
The one thing that Mike did that
turned you on.
That turned me on. I was wet. Was when
Phil,
he shows up. He shows up for our audition, and he showed up ready.
Oh, ready.
He knew the songs. He didn't just show up cold. Like, what do I do? What's that next part? He came and he knew the songs.
Which is a big plus.
He studied at home, which seems to be a thorn at my side at times, where people just show up and they don't know anything, and that just creates havoc.
It shows like they don't really care.
Yeah, they don't care.
I mean, everyone's busy. I'll admit I didn't know the songs backwards and forwards like I do today. But at that time, I was like, I'm going to give it my best effort, and hopefully, some of the key licks that Phil wanted me to do. It took me a couple of times. I'm not going to shy away from that. But in the same token, when Christina came in, I was impressed with how much you knew already, instead of, I don't know how the song goes, I get the lyrics, okay, play me the song.
I was actually pretty shocked about myself too.
That came to like a compliment of like, oh, well, at least we know that the songs flow, that you can actually pick it up. And like you said, four practices later, we're live in Hollywood. Okay, so before we end this show, which is we got an introduction with Christina. You heard what she's singing for us.
Yep.
And we're really happy to have you in the band. We couldn't be more proud that things seem like they're working out for us. I mean, that Hollywood show opened a lot of doors for us, and we appreciate it.
All the planets were aligned perfectly that day.
and with some of those doors that are opening, we finally got a response from people that want to interview us, or that we got more gigs and stuff. So, so Phil was asked by the OC Weekly this week some questions.
Ciao.
What was his name? Adam?
Yeah, Adam.
Adam.
I don't know his last name, but
He asked me some interesting questions, and I answered them. And he's going to publish them next week.
It'll be Thursday the 24th, I hope.
Thursday the 24th October. So
that's what he claims. We'll see what happens. Adam, if you're listening, that'd be cool.
Very interesting questions. A lot of them I enjoyed answering, and we're going to be featured in the OC Weekly, Evile Annie, and
under the locals only blog. But I mean, that's still something for us.
Exactly. Yeah.
We may not be getting the cover, but the fact that someone actually knocked on our door and said, "Hey, let's talk."
And when he asked me these questions, he asked me the questions based on our previous podcast that he actually listened to.
Yeah, which is a lot of the reason why we decided to resurrect this. So.
Yeah. And when he asked me, one of the questions that really stood out was he asked me a question: "Is what are the biggest mistakes that bands make when they play live?" And I could have he asked me the 5 reasons.
Okay.
He only wanted 5 instances. I could have given like 20.
Yeah.
Because
as fans and as being patrons of watching local music, we see a lot of that.
Yeah, because I elaborate on there that I get asked to go to shows every other day, and a lot of times I'll go. They'll invite me, these local bands. I go there and I'm just like trying to stay awake while watching them, and I see them making the same mistakes that other bands make. Like one of the things that I told them was playing the same dumb cover songs over and over, the same songs that all these other bands do. Metallica, Motley Crue, Guns N' Roses, Sweet Child of Mine.
So, in other words, all the music from the 90s.
Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin,
Yeah,
I mean, if you're going to choose a cover song, come on. The same old cover songs I see over and over that just, they're just done to death. And their excuse is always, "Oh, we're just doing what the public wants." And sure, that's fine, but
because there's a survey that everybody in the public signs and says, "Yes, I want Purple Haze for the 9 millionth time. Please play that."
And I think that's one of the mistakes that some of these bands make. They just play. It's like being in this safe mode. And I say, take a chance.
Yeah. True.
Gamble a little bit.
They should do like an old song and make it their own, and everybody's like, "What?" You guys chose Dance the Vampire.
Yeah.
I've never heard about it
Mm-hmm.
until we started to cover it, but it's a really good song.
That we do, or the cover?
No, that we do. We do. It's both ways. They do it really awesome too. We do.
No, and I think that to me is like what makes some bands shine is when they can take a cover and really make it their own, and you go.
Who chose that song? Phil.
Yeah, I chose it. And once again, I chose that song because I wanted to take a chance.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these other bands, especially the Inner Sandman,
Yeah, well, I played that to death in high school. I don't need to ever play it again.
I'm so sick of that song.
I'm over it.
Or Sweet Child of Mine. That's a doo doo doo. I don't even consider you good anymore if you play that song.
You only play that pentatonic scale.
Yeah. So that's one of the things. One of the things that I was going to ask you about that you think are mistakes.
Well,
that bands
sometimes I see a band and they won't even say what their name is. And it's like, I dig them, and then it's like, I'm like, "What's your name of your band?" And they're like yelling it, and I'm like, "I can't hear you." So after that, I don't even know who they are.
Yeah.
So they just kind of lost a fan because I can never find them.
And they have no banner.
There's no banner.
And on their kick drum, there's nothing. Graphics. And then they're like, "Thank you, everybody. By the way, we're boo, 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 boo.
Yeah, you can't even hear them. We're boo, boo, you can find it on boo, boo.
Yeah. They said that bands that have just one word as a name, just like Slug. They said people will tend to remember those one-word names more than a band that has like 5 words in their names.
Makes sense.
Well, that's true to a point. How many famous bands do you know are one-name bands?
But they said as far as memory.
Yeah, I mean, I'll remember Slug now.
I was thinking Slug for some reason.
There's probably 100 bands called Slug. Like another one's Driven. There's so many bands called Driven.
Yeah.
I've played with so many. Every time I think it's the same one.
And you know what's bad about
different.
that, though? It's like when somebody goes to Google them, they Google Driven, and they get all this nonsense.
I know.
So it's like it's hard to find them on the web,
Well, I mean, that brings kind of the weird thing with our name, because we pronounce ourselves Evile Annie, and some people not naming any names, but only remember us as Evil Annie.
Yeah.
And then other people who know of there's a band out there that's just called Evile think that we're associated with them. And it's like, no.
But yeah, you're right, Christina. I sometimes I'll go and I'll see the one band I really like the most, and I have no idea who they are.
Yeah,
they have
exactly.
nothing to promote themselves.
And it sucks because they just lost a fan.
Yeah, and I'll go looking for them. I want to talk to them, and they're gone already. They just left real quick, and I'm like, whoa.
Or they're busy getting their gear together. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think another mistake that a lot of bands make is they don't do anything that pre-promotes them to the show. So many times you go and they get the spot that opens for some sort of national act, and in this day and age, you Google everything.
Mm-hmm.
And when you Google a band, and the only thing you really find is like, after digging and digging and digging, a little tiny YouTube blurb that may have like promoted little bits of their band.
Yeah.
It's like, I still don't know who they are.
Yeah.
It's like, come see this band.
Uh-huh.
Good luck. Thank you for finding us.
They're like, well, what are you
no
about?
other presence. And it's not like you have to do anything that's difficult. There's so many free sites today. I mean, we use Facebook because I think it's more of a necessary evil, because most people are on Facebook all the time. So we just say, go to Facebook, find Evile Annie, we're there.
Yeah.
I'm sure if we would have had, at one time we did have evileannie.com, but would people actually spend the time to go, I want to step away from my Facebook and go to this separate website?
That's true.
To listen to stuff. And it's just really difficult to do that today.
Because it's easy because you're on Facebook and you already know that you could check on the search on Facebook the band and you'll find them.
And then once you like us, then we're on your feed.
Yeah, well, not necessarily.
Well,
they did something to that.
To a point.
Dang, Facebook, why?
Well, Facebook wants to make money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're like, promote this. You want to boost this post? I'm like, boost this up your ass, Facebook.
The thing I read recently, Linkin Park was trying to make a promotion with Facebook. And they said, well, in order to reach all your fans, you got to spend $250,000 to do it.
Dang.
And so they said, well, guess what? We're going to put our stuff free on BitTorrent.
Uh-huh.
And that's what they're doing to reach millions of fans.
Oh. You know what? I think because Facebook has a lot of power, and once it's kind of, Facebook's not going to be around forever. So there's something new that's going to come along anyways. And
just like MySpace.
exactly,
Remember what happened
MySpace, yeah.
Well, I mean,
actually, I liked MySpace in a way for bands because you were able to upload your songs right away.
Yeah.
And right when somebody went onto that band's page, you would see the songs automatically.
Right.
And
But the thing I hated about MySpace was the same reason, is you would open up someone's page, all of a sudden, music would just blare, and you'd be like, oh my God, I'm at work, what the hell am I doing?
And all those ads.
But I mean, the cool thing about MySpace was, I used to love it because you can customize it.
Exact your page.
Yeah.
I know, I love that too.
The thing I do miss
Can't
about
customize Facebook.
Yeah. and on Facebook, it's like, no, this is our rule. This is what you have to use. Good luck.
Conform.
Well, Another one mistake, which I consider a mistake, is bands that do the same old cliches.
Yes.
Like if they're a metal band, they go up there. What do? They start flipping you off. They wear band T-shirts. The heavy metal sign.
No, let's back up. They start off with they have to wear the studs.
The studs.
They have to. There's an image that goes. Yeah, you have to have the army boots, the perhaps leather pants.
The catchphrase like "metal up your ass." You know, I mean, after a while, it's like, come on, think of something new.
Like,
think of think of a new catchphrase. That same heavy metal sign going up. You know, that Dio invented. That's why I make sure in Evile we don't do any of that. On stage, I don't want anyone wearing, you know, an Aussie shirt while we're playing Annie songs, or we over there going like that, because it's
like
a
what,
little,
Phil?
it's a little hokey.
You guys can't see it,
There's
but
people
Phil
back
is.
at home, and Phil was kind of doing a Nixon version of the metal horns.
Yeah, metal horns.
Now there's a time and place for metal horns. I mean, there's I don't know. I gotta say, like, there's a camaraderie with metalheads that, you know, we survived every kind of musical fad that's out there, and, you know, there's still a group of people that still love this music. I'm not,
Yeah.
you know. Now, of course, there's different genres of heavy metal today,
Yes.
and people all have their own opinions about what is good and what is bad.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But you know,
You
you can't sit there, and I can't deny that when I was 16 that Warrant was one of my favorite bands.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, and that's one of my influences to this day.
And for the last 10 years, I've been talking to these metal guys, and they're just like, man, metal's coming back. And they've been saying that for the last 10 years, and it still hasn't been back the way it was in the 80s. I mean, they've been saying that for years and years. I mean, it's still around,
Yeah.
but I don't think it's ever going to peak the way it peaked in the 80s, especially when, like, you know, Quiet Riot was on the top 40.
Well, I mean,
and all that
but
stuff like that.
I would say, as far as the radar, as far as the kind of views that you're getting, it's just evolved. I mean, you know, we play a niche form of music that will, you know, never get the same kind of attention that Kiss did,
Yeah.
or Alice Cooper, because at that time that was the different thing. So I wouldn't discount it as easily as that, as saying, you know, it's.
Well,
you never know.
they keep telling me it's coming back, and I'm like, I'm still waiting. When?
Well, but-
I mean, I hope it does.
They're like around the corner. You see it?
It's just around the corner.
But by coming back, are they just saying, like, you know, it's going to be in the lexicon? We're going to be turning on the radio, and KNAC is coming back? No, I don't.
That's what I was thinking when they say coming back. That's what I was expecting, and it still hasn't. And
Well, right now, punk is trying to come back.
Well,
Yeah.
and punk has always done its ebbs and flows. It's evolved from, you know, like hard punk to the pop punk,
Pop
which
punk.
the Green
Like
Days.
Blink-182.
Yeah.
All the. I'm just kidding.
You know, and so, and I think that's kind of how music runs anyway. You know, think about boy bands.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, every generation has had their own boy
Oh,
band,
yeah.
and so you're going to have a time where it's going to be like a dormant period where there's no boy bands, and then all of a sudden there's going to be a little boy band shows up, and like I was so surprised that, you know, One Direction has followers, and I was like, oh well,
My
of course.
little niece, I've never heard of them, and
Yeah.
so she's like, I'm like, what do you want for your birthday? Oh, One Direction poster. Oh, well, who are they?
Yeah, but it's, you know, what we would have thought when we were younger is just like, oh my god, you know, that is the people that sing to me, you know, and just like at the time when metal was at its peak and every song was a ballad, people were like, you understand me.
Understand me. Touch me.
Home sweet home, yes. I get it. When I'm on the road, I need to come back home.
so that's, you know, I really enjoyed answering that question about what the mistakes. Any other around the horn?
Oh well, I mean, you're talking about, like, you know, there's a perceived image of what you should be as a musician, which
People
you know,
try too hard.
yeah, or, you know, like long hair being one of those.
Yeah.
You know, it's like there's what I consider almost a joke anymore, because a lot of guys that are still trying to go with the long hair, you know, present company excluded, you know, they're keeping whatever hair they have left. And it's kind of slowly migrated from their forehead towards the mullet. It's just a really long mullet.
Yeah, because the long hair thing is mostly a young man's thing.
Yeah, well, it harkens back to the Samson days.
Yeah,
you know,
I guess I'm the exception. You're that, or
I mean, you're one of the few people that you know, at your age that you don't have that.
You pull it off, Phil.
That receding,
thank you.
receding hairline, and John of course has the same thing. I mean,
John does too.
He has beautiful hair.
Beautiful, shiny blonde hair.
The day I cut off my hair, I mean, a part of me died that day, but I haven't looked back. I mean,
Don't look back, boy.
Yeah, once in a while, I still do the hair grab. Oh yeah, I used to have that.
Because you used to pull your own hair. I like it.
I used to. I mean, you just played with it. It was just one of those things.
You're
but
like,
I don't.
Oh yeah.
I don't miss going through 2 bottles of conditioner a week.
Saved money there.
Or go, should I blow dry my hair today?
Should I let it go frizzy, or should I blow dry?
Because a lot of people on Facebook who I'll reconnect with, you know, like from the high school days.
Yeah.
And I'll reconnect with some of my old buddies who they were known for their long hair.
Yeah.
And because of age, they've got nothing.
Yeah.
And they're still surprised to see that I have my hair, and they're like, man, they're like totally surprised that I still have hair like this. You know?
Like, be jealous.
And you know, they got nothing left, you know, because it's just more of a and their excuse is always, you know, I grew out of it, I'd start a family, kids, and all that stuff. It's perfectly understandable, you know.
Yeah, or in my case, my job will not allow you to have long hair.
Who?
My job won't allow you to have long hair.
The job
Oh.
thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a weird, you know, old boys club.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Businesses still frown upon people with long hair, and you know, sometimes
Even
I kind
dyed
of
and
laugh
stuff.
even when I see a super rich guy who has long hair, and he's like kind of a silver, you know, has silver fox type hair, and I just kind of laugh at him like, oh my god, it's like an old producer from the 80s.
Just like, you know, I mean, I've been even told a couple of times, like, hey man, you still have that, you still got long hair now? What are you doing that for? We haven't grown up yet? I'm like, it's not, you know.
At least you got a job.
You're like it's none of your business.
But, I mean, it's a rarity that today that you know, people still look at it, and you know, you may only get a certain type of job because of it.
Yeah.
It's because your employer is jealous. They can't see you with long hair because they
have no problem with the skinhead in their place.
They don't have a problem with him
because he looks like Jordan. So, anything else that you can think of?
One more.
Okay.
One thing.
Yes.
When they wear thongs.
Thongs?
No, I'm just kidding.
It's like, which bands are you watching? Thunder from Down Under?
I know. I can only imagine what you're
Las
invited
Vegas.
to.
Hey, Bernie, you wear thong on stage. Only
He wears pink. The elephant one.
Well, one of the things I told Adam on OC Weekly is that when I go see a band, sometimes it really sticks out like a sore thumb, the disorganization I'll see on a stage. And one of the major ones I see all the time is I'll see a band play, and they all look at each other like, well, what do we play next? Oh, I don't know. But what do you want to do? It's like they don't even have a set list. I'm like, don't these people even plan this stuff? And I'm looking at them, and I'm like, and they're just wasting time between songs.
Yeah, well,
yeah, they should get their set together.
I agree with you, but I mean, we're trying to bring music to different level locally as opposed to looking amateurish. I mean, that's really what you're
That
calling
looks
it.
very amateurish.
Because you're talking about guys who are in a garage, and one day they decided to call in and say, "Can we play live on stage?"
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it's like deer in headlights. Now, if you see that same band twice doing the same thing every time, then yeah, they need to go back in the garage.
Yeah, and I see them, and after they're done, I immediately forget about them. I have no interest in seeing, because they probably do this. If they do it once right there in front of everybody, they probably do it all the time. Or they go up and they have this philosophy of, let's just go up and just do whatever.
Let's jam, man.
Let's just jam. See,
15 minutes an A, dude.
Yeah, that's the one thing about the whole thing where they say, let's just jam, man. And you know what? I've been asked so many times, I'm not a believer in that let's just jam, man kind of thing, because...
Well, there is a forum for jamming. You can go to your local music store, and they have these nights where you just show up and they're open mic nights.
Well, that's different. I'm talking about where it's at the last minute. They say, "Hey, man, just come up on the stage and play with us." I'm like, "Well, I don't know your stuff." "Well, just go up there and fake it." I'm like, "I'm not into faking here. I just look like an idiot."
Dead.
just play an E chord and just fake it. I'm like, I don't want to do that. That's the whole jamming thing. I can't do that. I have to know the stuff. If I don't know it, I'm not going to go up there. Because I've done it before. The only thing that I might do it is if I'm playing drums.
Because that's any different.
Well, because you're keeping me a straight beat, Right. But as far as like notes, I'm not going to just hit any dumb thing. They look at me, "Hey, you see, you're doing good." I'm like, "No, I'm not."
Well, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, but if they say that, we're in this key, you know the notes that go into that key, right?
I'll know, just the first note. After that, you're on your own, and it'll be,
because you know the scale, right?
No, because sometimes they'll ask me to come up there and to play one of their original songs.
Oh, and like.
You see, that's different.
Watch for the changes. I mean,
if
it's like Michael J. Fox and
it's different.
Yeah.
But if it's their original song, that is kind of hard because it's like, oh, what?
Who the hell thinks that's going to work?
Yeah,
it just sounds like a train wreck ready to happen.
Yeah, and then even with covers, I'll tell them, like, I don't know that song. I've only heard it like a couple of times. And they're like, just come up anyway.
Because you want to feel confident when you're playing.
Yeah.
You want to know the song. You want to get there and knock it out of the park.
Yeah, and I just don't want to do it. I'm not sure if you guys been asked to do stuff like that.
With singing, I do,
Uh-huh.
but with instruments, no.
So I'm just not into that jam thing.
I'm one of those people that I respect the drummer's drums, that I'm not going to just jump on the fucking drums and be like,
you're not going to jump on them and
let me beat the crap out of your heads. That because the whole time you're either going to be okay with it or you're going to be cringing.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't want to do that.
So
that ends another podcast. We'd like to thank everyone for listening. If you made it this far, we'd like to thank Christina for coming out
thank you
and,
very
of course, helping raise the awareness of Evile Annie and being in our band. Yeah.
It's been awesome.
Well, I'm glad you say that, and it's not like work.
No, it's not work at all.
And this October, we've been very busy.
Yeah, so check out Evile Annie, and of course check out I Still Have Nightmares whenever they're playing. When are you playing next?
October 25th at Spike's Bar in Rosemead.
So the Friday before
I know
our show. Don't blow out your voice.
I know. Because the next day we're playing 2 shows.
Yeah. So we're going to be playing the beautiful Transylvanian.
Yeah, and when we see her, we're going to say, "Oh, are you ready, Christina?" "Yes, I'm ready. Let's go."
I know.
Don't jinx it. Don't jinx it.
No, forget I said that.
All right. Well, thanks again, everyone. We'll see you next time. Hopefully, the next podcast comes out sooner than this one.
See you on the next.
See ya.